So I recently did a video talking about how I think Marshall D teaches Zoan fruit would be a mythical variation of the snake that we see in Jaya, but then later in the current story within the upper yard of Skypiea, saying that this most likely is the same snake that we see in the big mural during the events of Elbath. So, with that being said, another funny part that I noticed about this that I talk about during the video, but I wanted to make more clear here is that Marshall D. Teach encounters either a snake run civilization or a snake like entity at three major points in his career, because we first see him, of course, in Jaya. Of course, Jaya was once a part of Shandia, or Old Jaya, as it's sometimes referred to, is where the Shandians worship their giant snake deities. And we see that there are at least three generations of snake. We have the original, its child, and then its grandchild, which then becomes Nola in the present. Once that part of Old Jaya is knocked up and becomes Upper Yard in Skypiea. But then when he becomes a warlord, he fights Magellan. Magellan uses an attack called Hydra. Hydra looks like an amphitheater because it's technically a winged, multi-headed serpent, but it's still very snake-like. But then when he becomes a Yonko, he goes to Amazon Lily in search of some fruit, I guess. Maybe Boa Hancock's fruit in particular. I'm not sure for what purpose. But of course, Amazon Lily is a snake-run society. Not only is Amazon Lily a snake-run society, but his invasion served as an introduction to the Seraphim, both as hawk and as snake. As snake being one of the significant Seraphim moving forward. So it's funny that there are so many snake themes at very pivotal moments of Marshall D. Teach's career. What's also quite interesting is that I made the point that we've seen snake civilizations before, and in the mural, the snake seems to be associated with a civilization as there are tall buildings in the background. What's so interesting about this in correlation to Blackbeard is that Blackbeard wants to turn Pirate Island into a proper kingdom that is a part of the world government. So he wants to turn this civilization of villains into a proper kingdom, which I think is quite interesting and falls in lockstep with the rest of the snake civilizations that we've seen so far, especially if he becomes a snake himself. So then he'll become the king of a civilization while also being a snake, bearing very interesting parallels to Shandia and Amazon Lily, technically, because of course Boa Hancock is snake themed as well, and she is the ruler of Amazon Lily. So I think all that's interesting and all that's very possible to happen in the future if Blackbeard does eat a mythical snake fruit. But with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What's it?